NCEOC is on a mission to protect jobs, increase community wealth, and create a more vibrant, inclusive economy through employee ownership. We do this through telling stories, forging partnerships, and providing unbiased information.
Back in 2014, when I first started Broughton Consulting, I went to the National Center for Employee Ownership Conference, and I heard that there was an effort to have more boots on the ground by starting state centers. And I thought, the time is now to start one in North Carolina because that's where I live.
My work with really employee ownership really started prior to the actual forming of the organization in 2018. And I was working at that time for an organization and got approached by the city of Durham to participate as a community fellow for it's called the SEED program, which stands for Shared Equity and Economic Development. And in that, what I was able to do was learn that as a pathway to succession planning or exit strategy for entrepreneurs was employee ownership. And in that, I met some great and wonderful people like Ann Claire Brogington, Patrick McHugh, and Steve Storkin. And from that, we really did begin on the planning committee around meeting and learning about how to really intentionally bring that to North Carolina and be able to create a organization, and specifically a nonprofit organization that would really focus around outreach, but also really that transition for those companies.
We're at a really important moment where the baby boomer generation of private business owners is retiring, and they will all be out of the workforce by 2030. And this is called the Silver Tsunami. It is the largest wealth transfer in history. And for these businesses, if the business owner doesn't have a child to take over or a ready buyer, many of these businesses could go under. They could close their doors. And this would have a huge impact on our state and nationally as these small businesses that are so important to the community transition.
So in the first year of operation, North Carolina Employee Ownership Center had a direct partnership with the city of Durham to really identify those businesses that were ready for transition, to really have workshops with them to talk about employee ownership, to really get them thinking in terms of who will operate that business.
What brought me to the North Carolina Employee Ownership Center are conversations that were happening in the Triangle, and particularly Durham, North Carolina, about legacy business ownership. And I met the founder of the North Carolina Employee Ownership Center, Ann Claire Broughton, and we talked about mission and vision, and it really aligned to all the things that I've been doing in community, and it just made sense. And so joined the board and eventually became the board chair, and happy to serve in that capacity.
So employee ownership gives a lot more people the chance to not only have better pay and better benefits, more flexibility, more job security, more voice in running their business, but also to actually build some wealth and some equity in the business over time so that when they retire, they have an actual nest egg.
The reason why I was so interested in being a founder and an active board member is because of the impact of employee ownership to creating wealth for communities of color.
Shoe shops, funeral, homes, or any other organization that's like the lifeblood of a community that has a lot of history and texture. Being able to support those businesses staying viable and owned by the folks in the community and being a representative of people from ethnic and racial minorities is going to be really important, not only for the viability, but just for overall economic inclusion and building those, cutting those gaps down in economic outcomes for people.
Our vision is that all North Carolinians benefit from strong local economies and shared prosperity through employee ownership.